doesn't have enough, trying to hold on, trying to break through this army, but there's just so much damage output. Continue to hold on at this point. This war must unfold. They've got to get out of there. They cannot die at this point. Ok, on y va. On est encore première ligne.
Ok, oh là là, les élèves qui arrivent. Non, il est en train de le massacrer. La porte du Terran qui est en train de chuter. Drogo.
What a build, what a strategy. And he's going deep.
He is in back. Oh my god, going after these swarmos. The drones are pulled. He's killing absolutely everything.
Il a volé cette game définitivement.
Ah, mais...
Allez, Violette qui va, Violette qui pousse, mais c'est GG.
Oh my god, what a game are we watching right now, Apollo? Because this isn't like any StarCraft II I've seen before.
It is time. We've made the grand finals. We are live in Dreamhack Open, ready for the one and only best of 7 to crown the new champion. It's going to be an exciting finals. Are you ready, everybody? I hope you are tuning in from around the world. Make sure to spread the word. Thank you very much to our sponsors who make all of this possible. Zowie, Razor, G2A, Monster Energy, and of course Alienware. Do remember to include the hashtag DHOpen and hashtag WCS. Joining me on the panel for the grand finals, we have Todd, we have Tasteless, and we have Artosis. 3 days of awesome StarCraft action now lead down to just a single best of 7. It's going to be Polt versus True. Tasteless, are you hyped?
Dude, I am so hyped. I gotta say, I think Polt may have met his match here. True is just tearing through everybody. It seems like he can't be stopped. But then again, this is Polt. This is a guy who's very difficult to take out. He's a tenacious player. He hangs in there. And he definitely has experience on a huge stage, an international stage like this one here at Dreamhack.
Polt might have the most experience of anyone in the entire world at these events. He's won countless tournaments outside of Korea as well as inside Korea. Yeah. Tournaments that True just qualifies for. But as Tasteless said, True is in ridiculously top form.
And that's the story of this grand finals here for me. It's the new blood in WCS in True here, who has lost only one map so far, up against the veteran in Polt, who struggled definitely a lot more than True before he made it to the grand finals here.
Well, 3 days of awesome StarCraft action here at the Dreamhack Zowie Open. We can check in with the bracket and you can see how it's developed over the last couple of days. Finally, we are here. It's going to be a Terran versus Zerg in this beautiful grand finals that's about to unfold. Can True qualify for the WCS Global Playoffs? With a victory here, he would be joining Polt, who already qualified earlier on during the year. An exciting match ahead. Can Polt keep him out? Is the question. Artosis, thoughts?
Well, you know, Polt is going to do his best to keep him out, but True dropped out of GSL Codes specifically to join up with the international WCS scene. This is his only chance to make it to BlizzCon right here, right now. If he loses here, that's it. He has to wait till next year. So he is going to pull out his absolute best stuff, but is that really enough against Polt? Polt is like the guy when they announced the WCS system, we're all like, well, I mean, Polt's going to make a lot of money this year.
And he has done so far, and he can continue to make money. Of course, first place taking a whopping $35,000 to add to the already $460,000 that Polt's got to his name.
Yeah, it's a massive number, actually, $35,000. Like, imagine if True won here, he not only goes to global finals, he also gets that money. That would be a pretty darn good day here in the StarCraft career, for sure. Probably the best one yet.
He's covered his visa costs. You can say that.
You know, it's interesting. He's come out here. He's made a huge life transition. He's competing in a totally different scene. But at the same time, I think to what you were saying, Artosis, like True really has a lot on the line. obviously was coming out to a scene like this expecting to dominate. If he gets this far and doesn't make it, and a player who did a previous step, such as Polt, continues to reign dominance, that's a big, tough one there for True.
And of course, I mean, True's played fantastic. He's continued to dominate every single player, but maybe this is his match because for the last couple of games that we've seen Polt play, and specifically the Petit Drogo and the Neeb series, he's playing out of his mind.
Yeah, and the thing is, True just played versus the Terran in Hero Marine in the semi-finals. He showed a lot of, I guess, what he wants to do and what he has to offer versus Terran. And when you're about to face somebody like Polt, I guess you would like to be able to hide that style, or that maybe that the way you're going to become predictable if you use some of these builds. So for True to go into this match, as a guy who's been playing really well, we have to keep in mind that Polt, he's maybe one of the best guys in the world at coming up with solutions. It doesn't matter how good you are, how good shape you are in, and how good you're playing. This guy will come up with solutions all the time, and True, I don't know how confident he's going to be here, really, going up against somebody as good as Polt.
Yeah, and he even kind of gave something away during his interview on the couch with Smix and I, where he was saying, well, it's kind of nerve-wracking to play Zerg versus Terran on the stage. There's like so much micro involved, there's so much pressure, especially from someone like Polt, and he prefers to stay with that Zergling Baneling style. So is he just going to continue that moving forward? If Polt knows that going in, he can be prepared. He is going to make deeper walls everywhere. Yeah. He is going to stop those run-bys.
Well, gentlemen, we do have more time after we get this through to be able to continue discussions on this. But, ladies and gentlemen, people from around the world and in Canada, there's no point in waiting any longer.
He's in trouble. Some great fumbles going down. The Ultra's closing oh so quickly. Roach and Hydra all over the place.
Big play coming out from 4GG. He runs straight past that tree, goes straight for the Roaches here. What a move, what a build, what a strategy.
After 3 days of action, it has all come down to these two players. Our first player is looking for his first StarCraft II title ever, as well as to secure a position at the WCS Global Playoffs at the end of the year. His opponent broke a record by becoming the only player with 4 WCS titles, and today he is looking to take it one step further and become the only player with 5 WCS titles. Montreal, please give it up for True and Polt! True, the last time you were in a grand finals, it was a year and about a few months ago, and now you are in the grand finals one more time. If you win here, you can become a StarCraft II champion. But of course, facing you is a player that you called a legendary player. It is Polt. So what do you have to say to Polt before this match?
Polt has best university in Korea, and I didn't go university, so I'm super behind now. But I will show university that important.
University is not important, says True, but Polt, I know that earlier when I spoke to you, you said that you needed to be the gatekeeper and keep True out of the global playoffs because you said it wasn't fair to the other players. But on top of that, if you win here, you'll take your current record even further and have 5 WCS titles. So what do you have to say back to True?
5 WCS titles. That sounds great. I will get it this time.
5 WCS titles, he says. Please shake hands. It is time to find out who the champion will be here at the WCS Summer Championship. Apollo, back to you.
Thank you very much, Smix. What a finals that we're about to unfold. Very, very excited for this one. Gentlemen, Polt versus True. Polt has been in WCS from the very, very beginning. True's, it's his first time, it's his first tournament, and he's looking to go straight to the top to win it all, Tasteless.
True is too cool for school, guys. He is going to try to go all the way here and take out his opponent. Look, this is really exciting. You can see both these guys super hungry to move on, and both of them just so much on the line.
Yeah.
Actually, you mentioned how much there is on the line, but again, to put that into perspective, True, if he wins here, he not only goes to the global finals, he wins $35,000 instead of $15,000. There is a $20,000 difference here between first and second. For a guy that moved from Codes into WCS, I feel like if he loses here, we're going to remember him as the guy, who made it to the finals. Sure, that was impressive, but he doesn't go to the global finals. He doesn't add that extra 20,000 from now that he could have made if he had beaten Polt. So it's big difference here in what you win and what you don't win.
For True, absolutely. For Polt, it's like the 5th title in WCS. Who knows how many tournaments he's actually won? No one can actually even count that high. That $35,000, yeah, it's a lot of money, but like Polt already has won more money than almost every other player in the game. It's just like dropping more pennies into his piggy bank. Like, there's no pressure here on Polt. And he has so much experience as well. And even what True said before, like, Polt graduated from the best university in all of Korea. Like, this is a Superman that we're looking at right here.
You're right, this guy's a jack of all trades. And to go, by the way, if you guys are familiar, Polt did go to Seoul University. That's the best university in all of South Korea. That's like getting out of Harvard. And then you're like, I'm going to be a pro gamer too. And then I'm going to go land on the moon, and then I'm going to be a brain surgeon. I mean, this guy is doing everything. And True, I mean, this is the story of a lot of pro gamers. A lot of them opt out of getting a formal education and instead pursue their passion and try to become the greatest StarCraft player of all time. So, a lot of True's life is kind of culminating to this one moment.
Yeah, and there's a lot on his shoulders for sure.
I wonder if True starts to mix in different builds, playing different styles. Sure, he's had some success here, but we talked about how if you're Polt here and you got to watch these games against Hero Marine, which I'm sure he was paying very close attention to, you're already thinking about everything that you can do against this one style that True's been playing. That's, to be honest, as good as he played, is decently repetitive and predictable.
I think one thing that's been repeated over the years when watching Polt is he's very, very good when it comes to a best-of-7 setting and is able to play out a full series on every single map. He's very good at building that plan to approach a longer series, Artosis.
Yeah, he really is. Like, he just, again, it goes back to that experience. This guy has played since StarCraft II came out. He was in the beta and everything, and has been one of the best players in the world non-stop throughout that time. He's won championships just about every single year that StarCraft II has existed. Like, there's nothing he hasn't done. So the more games you give him, the longer you give him to download somebody and just destroy them, it's crazy. That's why a best-of-7 is so good for Polt. This is like his home territory.
The fact that there is no veto means that those maps that usually would be vetoed, that are the most difficult ones to play for another race, are going to be picked very early, obviously, by the other race to try and do well on these maps. So that's also something to take in consideration. I'm guessing both of them probably practice these maps a decent amount. But I mean, again, going back to what you guys were just saying, Polt, that's definitely going to play more, I think, a little bit more into his hand than he will for True, in my opinion.
Do you think the fact that, True's come from playing in the Korea region, Codes, as you said, practicing with obviously all of the best players in the world, compared to Polt, who plays the North American server a lot more, plays within a WCS, a weaker region. Do you think that this is going to play factor where True's coming into this with a bit more momentum personally?
Well, there's a couple things to keep in mind. Normally, players who succeed in tournaments like this, they're very good at these kind of a stamina-based tournament, day after day, match after match. A lot of just thinking on your feet. You can only prepare for so many games, whereas True, coming into this, is much more used to, for instance, like you were saying, that GSL format. So even though it's a little bit rushed, he definitely has maybe more time to try to assemble certain builds. Where do I cheese here? Where do I do this? Where I think maybe Polt is a little bit used to kind of grinding through.
You're definitely right that it's like more of a stamina-based tournament, but to be honest, the only people in this tournament that played less games than True all lost in round 1, because this guy has not been dropping games. His series have been fast and furious, so that's going to be a tough thing for Polt to deal with.
Yeah, we see that 100% win rate of True here up against Polt. It's just one single encounter that happened over a year ago, so don't need to read into that too much, I think, especially it was just like an online tournament. Now, again, this is really the story of the guy who's on form against the veteran, who's good at fixing problems, really.
Polt's won about 10 times more money than True. It just keeps on piling up where it's like, okay, Polt is the consummate pro here. Yeah. This is such a mountain to climb. Can True end up doing that?
Okay, predictions. Where are we going, Artosis? You can begin.
Yeah, I will take Polt on this one. I think True has played fantastically. It'd be great to see him just win his first tournament and go right to BlizzCon and all, but Polt's a beast in these best of 7s. I think he'll take it down with probably a 4-2.
Is it my turn?
It is, yeah.
It's my turn. I think I might have to disagree with Artosis here. I actually think it's going to be True. I think 4-3.
The fairy tale story coming true.
But we'll see. Again, it's a very tough one to call. I'd be happy with either one moving on.
I agree. It's a very tough one to call. Actually, I was going to disagree with Artosis, but you already did that, so I guess I'm going to go for True. Up until the last second here, I couldn't pick, but I'm going to pick the guy who's on form right now against the guy who has seniority and experience.
All right, well, thank you very much. I was going to say, thank you very much, guys. We're all excited on the desk. Hope you are as well in Canada, out here in the audience, and online as well. Let's go over to the commentary team for this one. Tastosis, take it away.
Thank you very much, Apollo. Here we go. Tasteless game number 1 coming up.
All right, guys, let's get loud. Let's get hype. We are entering the finals. In the bottom right, in the red, our Terran player, he is Polt! And in the upper left, in the blue, he was in Korea before, just now here in North America in Montreal. He is True!
An absolutely awesome finals here to an awesome weekend of StarCraft II. Before we really get into it, guys, please make sure you get on Twitter, get on all your social media, hashtag DHOpen, and let the world know that we are about to watch one of the winningest pro gamers of all time, Polt, against a relative newcomer in True, who is fighting for a spot to BlizzCon.
As we can see here, we have Polt down here at the bottom, going for that Reaper opening. We were talking about this a little bit earlier before the game started, Artosis, but yeah, absolutely. Polt has had some time to do a little bit of on-site research here on his opponent. I'm very interested in seeing if Polt is going to shift some gears here and maybe make his play a little bit more unpredictable, or if perhaps he's simply comfortable, let's say, with his current style as it is and thinks he can simply outmuscle his opponent.
Well, already he's kind of showing his colors. As you said, a Reaper expansion and going right into that second barracks. So he's probably going to do a very quick stim medevac attack to see what he can get done against True. Now, if True holds true to how he played in the previous series, he's going to have a lot of queens and a lot of lings when Polt gets there.
Yeah, he's really good at that ground bullying style, about really, like we've seen in several Zergs, but his style is almost a little bit more unique, but just making sure that if you're out on the map, you're not safe. You want to compel the Terran to turtle as much as possible so you can gobble up all the resources on the map.
Oh, already getting a drone. I wasn't even ready to talk about the game.
I know, I was going to skip over it because normally they don't even die this early, but Polt already with a little bit of momentum going his way.
That's actually an awesome kill there for Polt. And yeah, it's only one drone. It's not like it's going to make True lose the game, but normally you end up killing, like, I don't know, a Zergling with the first Reaper, and that's about it. But the fact that he got that might point towards True having a little bit of nerves going into game number 1.
Well, let's see. You know, True, it's funny because we talk about nerves with True, but then he looks like a murderer. He is a killer when these games begin to pick up. I'm super excited to see what exactly is going to unfold here when we actually get into the mid game, because, you know, True's style, sometimes it's also a factor where you know what he's doing, but it doesn't mean that you can stop it.
Very true about that, but he's going to make sure he knows what he's doing. He's getting very fast Overlord speed here right after his Zergling speed, and that's going to allow him to scout exactly what Polt's up to. And as we were talking about before, Polt is going for fast stim, a fast reactor starport for those medevacs, which means he'll be putting on pressure immediately when those medevacs pop out.
So we're really going to have to see exactly how solid you know, True's defense is going to be here. Whenever you do a style of play that's like this, it can sometimes act like a double-edged sword. If you get in there and do the damage and get away, good on you, and especially if you trade so effectively or barely lose any units. But if you screw that up and you lose that, you can fall way behind and give the opposing player a lot of early mid-game control.
Yeah, look at this. True is grabbing, while he takes his third base at that gold, double evolution chamber. He's seen the build that Polt's doing. He knows he can get ahead on upgrades. So it's like you said, if Polt gets in there and does no damage, if he's just deflected instantly, True is going to be ahead on economy as well as upgrades, and that is a huge deal in Zerg versus Terran.
Well, True is somebody who's definitely very comfortable in the late game, especially in a macro setting. Polt, he seems to be fine in almost any position. He's okay on low resources. He's okay on high. He's just very good at those engages. A lot of times just out-controlling people, kind of like we're seeing over here.
The Reaper getting in great scouting right there. Oh, just barely doesn't make out. But you know what? He sees exactly what's going on. He sees the double evolution chamber, and he knows what is going to be awaiting these first two medevacs as they pop out.
As you can see here, Polt just beginning to amass, as you were saying as well, Artosis, 2 medevacs about to pop out. That's where we're going to see the real pressure come on from Terran. Obviously, when you get those medevacs out, that's when you really begin to feel comfortable moving out on the map, because if you have a bad engage, you can at least pick up and move out from the ground. Now, it's important to note, True is on a gold base right now, so it's actually even more important right now that Polt really do some damage here. If Polt does not manage to scar True here, True is going to have just so much momentum propelling him forward.
Yeah, he's going to be able to produce ridiculous amount of Zerglings and Banelings. So Polt moving up, he does need to get something done here, but he's making his third command center behind. And we should point out, of course, this is Apotheosis. It's such a long map that these attacks take a long time to get up there, which means it's a lot harder to do damage, and it is quite likely this could go to a very long game.
We see the medevacs coming up here. Looks like he's going to go for an Overlord snipe here. Some Lings headed southbound. I don't believe he'll manage to get any of these Marines right here. Only one does go down. But of course, obviously you need to go into the actual Zerg territory, not just where the Overlords are spotting for the medevacs to try to do some damage. So let's see how that goes now.
Okay, the medevacs coming up, dropping again, going after another Overlord, but a couple Queens push them off. They go up into the main base. Some Zerglings starting to go up there right now as well. A bunch of Zerglings in the middle of the map. Will he have enough to hold this off efficiently?
The drones are now pulling out. The Marines are in a very good spot, cutting down this extractor. The Lings have to back up. The Queen's coming forward, doing some damage to that medevac. One does go down, but there's not quite enough to take out these Marines.
The Marine's getting a little bit low. He's targeting down those medevacs as best he can with these Queens, but the Marines targeting down the Queens as well, taking out quite a few, but it will be cleaned up by True.
Now that was actually not bad there by True, because he actually getting rid of those medevacs. That's less medevacs you have to push along with your Marines. You take out everything on the ground, and not that many drone kills.
No, he really didn't hurt the economy all that much. It's nice what he did with it, but in the meantime, that gold base was not really able to start mining yet. A little bit of counter-harassment going on from True.
The Lings go ahead and poke in here. He's trying to monitor the movement of his opponent. Now, this has been a big theme over here with True throughout this entire tournament. He manages to get those Banelings in there, a lot of times catching his opponents off guard, whether it's with drops or coming in from odd angles, and that's definitely something that Polt needs to be ready for.
Oh, look at this. He is trying to make a bunker, but he gets in there before it's finished. The Banelings rolling in as well. The SCVs will be pulled rather quickly, so not too much damage, but that's a great move.
Especially considering that there were hardly any Banelings that needed to be detonated. He can make even more this next time around. Meanwhile, unloading Lings over here to try to draw attention elsewhere. Polt is going to have split defense at this moment.
Very good moves by True as he runs back in. He knows that that main drop has to be dealt with. The Lings and Banes rolling in, but Polt is already ready. Cleans up the attack in the main base as well, only losing 4 SCVs, but True is keeping him on his back foot.
Okay, so he did manage to clear some of that out, but he does have a Baneling drop ready. Now, to be honest, Artosis, in a lot of games, sometimes it's been decided just by a Baneling drop. So we got to see, is Polt going to be watching while Polt's doing his own harass, or will Polt lose a lot of workers because his attention is too split up?
That would be a big problem if that Baneling drop does a ton of damage. A lot of Lings running all around the place. In the meantime, Hive about halfway done. Infestor upgrades on the way as well. So True is gearing up for the late game tech.
The Lings are backing out now. Now here comes that drop. Is Polt going to be ready?
Amazing Baneling drop, clean up all but 1 SCV, 10 going down, and that really hurts the economy of Polt.
I gotta say, it's very subtle, but you watch that Polt, rather True, it just hits somewhere, backs off, then comes in again somewhere else, and has enough of a distraction of his opponent that these Baneling drops are always connecting.
Just a fantastic drop indeed. And now the Hive is about to finish. He's about to have Infestors out. I mean, if you fungal growth those Marines, the Banelings are going to decimate them. So Polt moving up, he has to be very careful with his next engagement.
Polt now moving out, headed northbound over here. Ideally just to clean up the creep. I believe he will pick up and back off here rather than trying to engage. And look again, Artosis. Nice job here by Polt. He's going to catch that Baneling drop. Polt actually potentially going to try to push in right here.
Some Widow Mines are down right now, so he has to lure those off somehow. A lot of units coming up from Polt. The Banelings start to roll down.
There are Infestors out here, so we may see them be used here as well. So far, he's trying to just drive off some of these drones in that gold base. By the way, that gold base almost completely mined out. But so far, not too much damage here on True.
Polt's holding a good area, trying to take down this additional hatchery. That's the 5th base of True. He really wants to save it. The Speed Baneling's coming in. He kills off quite a bit, but it's not quite enough. Cleaning up this attack behind his gold base as well.
But the hatchery goes down. Great play there for Polt. Polt now will have to pick up and either attack elsewhere or return back home.
Now we do see some great upgrades coming in. 3-3 on the side of True right now, whereas Polt has not started it. So a very big deal for True. Also getting those adrenal upgrades. We are really getting that later game tech, whereas Polt has gone for drilling claws. That is really going to help his Widow Mines to wreck these Lings and Banes.
Okay, he's coming in here now, trying to do some damage to the gold. We see some Ravagers and some Lings now pushing forward. A pickup again, not too much damage here on True. True now headed southbound. Going to regroup and possibly push again. Meanwhile, here in the upper right, an attack on the hatchery.
He's going to pick off that queen, but the Lings are too fast. He has to run away. A spore going up as well. Some of these mines all over the place. Look at this. Oh, a lucky mine shot misses what True wants hit. And it looks like a nice fungal comes out. Oh, perfect corrosive biles.
3 were taken out immediately there. Talk about surgical precision with that attack, but a good Widow Mine connect. Not bad for Polt at all. At this point in time, we have Polt continuing to hide some Marines here and around the map. You know, as the Zerg expands more in this game, they will have to expand further south, which means it's going to be a little bit easier for the Terran to take on those expansions.
Especially considering this creep spread is not as far down as True would really like it. So that could be hard for him to actually defend against, especially considering Polt does have pockets of units hidden all around the map.
As you can see here, Liberators now a big factor in this game. This is Polt's key unit. When you think of Liberators, you think of Polt. He's very solid at this. We're going to have soon the harass slow down and a more central push begin to pick up in this game.
An attack from Polt here towards that 5th base of True. He doesn't have that many drones there, but of course, every base for True at this point is important. He needs to keep mining as much as possible. Another big engagement coming down, but True has to run away. It's only a small fraction of his army.
Right now, some of these Lings and Banelings just waiting. Uh-oh, this may be a mistake here by True. He's going to try to come in with these Lings. And actually, you know what? The Wallen's not there. I was going to say you could just wall this in. Liberators are going to go down, but the Banelings are actually ended up. So many SCVs could be destroyed.
It looks like that gets cleaned up pretty well. Some great moves there by Polt, pulling those SCVs immediately, setting up those liberation zones, and keeping his economy intact.
We see now the Marines headed up north here. 2 different armies on 2 different sides of the map. He wants to try to hit wherever the Zerg is not. And that's going to be a little bit tricky. This map is a little bit more narrow than most maps here.
Okay, so right now is when that +3 attack just got started for Polt. He does have his 4th up. He's building another command center for another base while trying to harass. But right now, True is holding absolutely everything that comes at him while getting his Ultralisk upgrades ready.
Over here on the left side of the map, the Marines and the Marauders now moving up. This base does seem to be exposed. Targeted it down, only 4 lings. That's definitely not enough to deal with that. Meanwhile, counterattack over here in the bottom right.
A huge counterattack indeed. Going to really hurt the economy here of Polt, but at least he did get this hatchery of True. Banelings rolling in, clean up everything, but a big 3 medevac drop to the main base of True.
In the main base, he could take out so much key tech. We see the Ultralisk Cavern over here. Warden Fungal does go down, but it's not enough. He continues to push forward here, taking out the spawning pool.
Okay, the spawning pool going down is huge. He's been making mostly Zerglings this game, so he's going to have to remake that. We do have a nice fungal growth coming down, but not really doing that much.
Okay, so True beginning to regroup over here. He's setting a hatchery down to the center right. Remember, Zerg expands further south. Terran can rely on less resources for a longer time here. So right now, Polt is able to turtle for quite a while before the stress of moving out on the map does occur as far as expanding goes. But remember, when Terran have to spread out, it's a lot harder for them to control. They don't have creep everywhere to run on.
That's very true, Tasteless. And if he's going to be attacking, then he can't have enough units at home to defend. This is a tough situation for Polt, especially considering the Ultralisks are popping out. The army that True is making is just so deadly.
Now, in a game like this, after Terran has done enough damage, they decide to do the actual big push. We've seen a lot of harasses and drops. Here come the Liberators. Here come the tanks being in a mobile mode right now. This is going to be potentially the climax of this game.
A lot of liberation zones go up as he drops down those tanks out of the medevacs. A bunch of Ultras and Ravagers going around the other side. That hatchery will be killed, but True doesn't care. True is running right past him, going for the counterattack.
Well, he says that bring this army back towards me. True already has enough bases. He's going to try to draw as much attention away as possible. Now, will Polt bite the bait? That's what we have to see here. Also note the supplies. True, maxed out. Polt at 125. This is much tougher. Really, if Polt loses this army that we see right here, there's a high chance he will lose this game.
Indeed, you are right about that, Tasteless. Polt does not have a big economy. He can't replace that army easily, and True is just going for it. It looks like we have a little bit of a base trade going on, but Polt's army just seems like it's too small to win.
It would be very difficult for Polt to recover from here. We see that all these buildings are going to be completely destroyed here by True. Now, what True's plan is to do, completely gimp Polt in his main and then head northbound and try to clean up this attack. But if True doesn't execute it properly, he could lose very easily.
A big fungal going down on these Liberators. This is basically the end of Polt's chances in this game. They're very cost-efficient units. We'll have to see what he can get done with them, but with this many Lings and Ultras on the map, it's hard to imagine Polt being able to kill him.
All right, so True just going to continue to try to carve his way in here. If he gets on top of those production facilities, nothing else he can do. We see Mules landing right now in an attempt to try to repair this. Anything that he can possibly do to stay in this game. True does still have a huge army to try to rely on in order to come back.
Here's a funny thing. We don't have any Mutalisks, we don't have any Hydralisks, we don't have anything really that shoots up. So floating buildings are going to make this a tough finish for True. You have to kill all of Polt's buildings or he can stay in the game. Whereas the army that he has right now, that's hard to kill without flying units.
He is going to continue onward here, trying to destroy these structures, but you're totally right, it's dire straits. Now, of course, in a base trade, Terran do have that, like you were saying, they can float around. However, it's really going to be Polt trying to play whack-a-mole here and take these all out, and so many good! Corrosive Biles taking that out. I believe shortly here, True will come in and swallow up the remaining army here of Polt.
Yeah, that was just brutal by True, going up with the fungal growth, with the Corrosive Biles, eliminating a lot of what Polt has left, but he's bringing up the rest of his Liberators. He's trying to push forward. He's trying to stop True from mining anymore.
All right, he's managed to destroy that, but he's in a kind of like he's in a check position here. If it was chess, if he moves anywhere, he could end up losing the game. And I think slowly but surely, True's going to come in here. True now rotating around, just trying to monitor where these structures are. The fact the structures are headed northbound is a full indication there are no hidden bases here, and True is going to be pretty comfortable.
Yeah, he really is, considering that Spire is coming as well. He's picking off a lot of units. Polt's time frame here has really shrunk. Another fungal going out, corrosive bios all over the place, and that should be it. GG! True takes game number 1. Beautifully played macro game there by True. Great counter harassment, great defense against Polt. But in Polt's defense, that map can be very hard late game against Zerg.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a long push position to try to get all the way across that. And I want to point out, I think True really is doing so much damage with so little when it comes to these banelings coming in here. It seems like you have great movements from both sides and trades back and forth. But then these banelings come in. They take out all the workers in whatever location they're hitting, and that's going to be obviously a third if he's on 3 bases of all of his of everything that can mine for him. So that's pretty huge, and we've seen this happen over and over and over again in True's games. And unless Polt is able to become hyper vigilant about that, I mean, there's just really nothing that you can do.
No, you're certainly right about that. Like, you have to catch the Overlord when it's flying in with those banelings. Losing 10 SCVs on your gold base, it's like, yeah, 10 SCVs, that's a lot of SCVs, but also missing all that mining time on a gold base that gives you resources so quickly is really going to hiccup your production. And if your production gets slowed down at all, you don't have enough units to try to actually kill bases. So True just built and built and built on that lead.
What do you feel like Polt needs to do beyond that? Because the thing is, his pushes are pretty good. Actually, let's take a look at this game here first.
Yeah, you know, these were some great counterattacks by True. He really did a great job of identifying that Polt was very low on army and very low on economy. And with this counterattack, it was like, okay, yeah, kill some of my bases, but I'm going to kill everything you have at home. And by forcing Polt into a situation where he had no more income, he just kind of strangled him out.
You know what's interesting as well is that when we had the actual push, and you'll see a lot of Terran vs. Zergs that kind of look like that, where they're heading out with this huge army, and the Zerg oftentimes get tempted into engaging that, and that's of course after all that harass. True didn't bite the bait. He just went and did the base trade, and that was really where the game began to end. Anyways, guys, we are now into game number 2. In the upper left, we have in the red our Terran player. He is Polt! And with his new visa now here competing in Dreamhack. In the blue, our Zerg player winning game number 1. He is True!
You know, Tasteless, you were asking me what should Polt do to try to go ahead and win some games in this series, and I gotta tell you, I actually really like how he was approaching that game by going for the very quick stim with a couple medevacs, putting that pressure on, and Polt very smartly got drilling claws very quickly in that game, quicker than we normally see, because True is so dependent on Zerglings and Banelings. So I think if he just kind of keeps doing that and finds his stride, he can start peeling games off of True.
I am also curious to see if True even needs to switch up his builds that much or his style that much. It seems to really complicate games, you know, for the Terrans here. He's got a very bully-like Zerg.
Yeah.
He really gets in your face, and a lot of times with Zerg, they put pressure on you and force you to retreat. He's very much so interested in actually swallowing up armies, and he's doing it almost always with Lings, and then even just a small number of Banelings, which is cool because it is so cost-effective.
Yeah. The way that True plays, and this has always been the way that True has played StarCraft II from the beginning of his professional career to now. He's always had his own style, very Zergling, very Baneling heavy, and now with that new Queen buff, giving them that extra anti-air range to help deal with the drops, this style is really paying off for True. This is like a new fantastic time for him strategically as a player.
I gotta say, by the way, too, on this map specifically, now that we're seeing the Reaper back off here, there are a lot of cool pushing and dropping dropping tricks that Terran can try to do on this map. There's a lot of various paths you can move around, a lot of locations where you can destroy rocks and reshape what's going on. And of course, even at this initial gold base, we have this back area. That's of course why these Zerglings are focusing now down these rocks areas, because this can become a huge issue later on if you don't open that up. But even beyond that, there's just a lot of cool stuff that Terran can do. And it's not a crazy distance to push on, by the way, or drop from.
No, it's really not. It's very close for those drops, and I think that that means that this strategy that we see Polt doing, once again, the very fast stim and then going into the reactored medevacs, it's going to be a really strong way to play the game. I think that he's made a great choice to once again continue with this build he used in the last game.
This is pretty cool here by Polt. We see Polt just trying to delay as much as humanly possible those Lings from destroying those rocks, and I actually... this is doing way more damage and being way more of a nuisance than I ever expected.
That is so annoying for him to have to deal with, but he's got those queens there, so eventually he'll get through these rocks. And that's going to be a real point of contention. When Polt has a couple medevacs out with Sim Marines, he is going to be all over True behind those mineral patches, dropping up to the main base, and those are such long distances to run. I'm interested to see if True can hold on against the first wave and second wave of harassment.
Now this is pretty cool, just using this Reaper as much damage as possible, like we saw, even hitting some of those workers. He'll probably pull out here in a second as these rocks will go down now, and that will give Zerg open access here to the back of the base. Now we have the starport and factory swap, and we're going to begin to have medevacs come into the game at the same time around when Stim will be finishing.
Yeah, and True's playing slightly differently than what we saw before, just going for the one evolution chamber, getting a Baneling Nest as well. He's going to have to really spread his units very, very well against the harassment that's going to be coming up as soon as those two medevacs are out.
Well, as the game moves on here, we see the teching continue forward here. Zerg is droning up, and that's partially due to the fact that there is no real threat from the Terran. That's actually one of the great things about getting that Reaper early on. There's just not a ton of damage that can be done with it, although Polt did a pretty exceptional job with it this time around. Now, with the two medevacs out, this is where the game begins to pick up, and you can just see how fine-timed this build is. The moment he would need to drop that, Stim completes like around that very second, or a little bit ahead of that.
Now behind this, Polt's actually adding more barracks. We'll talk about that in a second, though. A big spread of queens right next to these Banelings that are morphing in. Zerglings coming up as well, and instantly shuts down this drop, pushing Polt back. Great defense from True.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about with True, is we all know that one of the great strengths of Terran is their mobility when it comes to dropping, and how much you can combo a drop and then switch back and make that army an actual pushing army. But the fact that True masses up so much muscle on the ground, and he really utilizes those mass queens to have anti-air. Whenever there's an engagement, if you watch, he uses the queens to start targeting the medevacs, and the Lings come in there so fast, they surround the Marines faster than the Marines can come out. And a lot of times, and we've seen it already at this tournament, the queens just gun down the medevac before it gets away, and then you got Terran scratching his head and saying, why on earth did I drop there to begin with?
Yeah, it's a great strategy from True. Again, that's why he's so strong right now, is this type of style. Now, I want to point out what Polt is up to. He's harassing lightly here, but he really doesn't want to lose any units, because it looks like he's gearing up for a two-base all-in. Behind the double medevac quick stim drop, you normally go for a third command center. Instead, Polt added a bunch of barracks. He's producing really heavily, even making siege tanks, getting that +1 attack, and all this is going to lead up to a massive push from Polt.
Now, it's interesting. I actually thought Polt might have gone for a longer game just because this is such a tighter map. But this may be something True could be caught off guard by. But again, whenever you do these two-base pushes, and it almost doesn't even matter what race it is, if you go hard into that two-base push and you don't succeed, it's not good. But whoa, Polt taking out two queens, very nicely done there.
Great move indeed, and in fact, chasing back some Zerglings and Banelings near his back door. Polt picking off absolutely anything he can. Every tiny little edge is going to be exacerbated when he comes in with his full army, and True needs to crush it.
So right now, Polt beginning to push out. Sometimes you want to have some of your army come out here to generate the illusion that you might be taking a third base here, but in fact the push is coming, and it could be very strong. You notice this is a valley he's pushing through. Zergs always want to have a huge surround. So Polt right now going to abuse the geography of the map in the hopes that the tanks cannot be surrounded as easily, and his Marines get better surface area against those melee attacking Lings and splash damage Banelings.
Now we should point out the Banelings do not have speed, and that is a big deal against siege tanks. The siege tanks can splatter them very quickly. Here we go, True going in right now. Those slow Banelings really not able to get the connections they're looking for. Oh, but it looks like True's going to do a huge counterattack.
And True's almost mined out that gold base. Here we go. He's going to try to hold this attack over here. I think this may be ill-fated. I think True needs to back up. There's going to be too much damage dealt.
Oh, he's easily slaughtering through every single queen here. That gold base going to be taken out. Oh, True actually retreating as opposed to attacking in, and True is in terrible shape here.
So the attack is going to come in right now. We don't see any good connections. No good surface area here. The Banelings are going to come in now. Can they get good connections? It looks like they will not.
Oh, such a bad situation right now for our Zerg player, True, as Polt stims and runs up the ramp into his main base. Almost nothing with her in. GG! Polt takes game number 2, tying up the series 1-1.
Really nicely done. That was actually an excellent build selection there by Polt.
Yeah.
I like the idea of what True is doing to go in there and counter, but you saw that when True pushed out, he had this moment where he's like, oh my God. Wait, he has way more than I thought outside of his base, and that was also because Polt effectively disguised the push itself. Yeah. He made it look, it was subtle, but he made it look by flying medevacs around and taking out overlords, which is a lot of times what you're trying to do anyways early on with Terran. Zerg didn't know that push was there until right when it was at the front of his base. True had that counter set up, but then when he saw how many tanks there were and Marines, you saw it actually stream back down as True's like, whoa, that's a lot more than I thought was there. Okay, but by then it was too late. Terran had an even better position.
It was just a perfect selection of strategies from Polt, as you said. You know, just to utilize the map in that way. He saw that True took the fast gold base that is so close to where Polt is. If you just siege some tanks up in the middle there, the Lings and Banelings are going to have such a hard time funneling through, especially since the creep is consistently pushed back. Look at that setup. You're never going to break that with what True had.
Here it is. You see all those units in the back stream in. That's when True thought, oh man, that's way more than I thought was actually. And see, here he goes. He pulls this back down here. But the fact that the hatchery is here in this spot already adds as another obstruction. So see, how on earth are the Lings going to connect properly here? I mean,
it's just never going to happen.
The Terrans have really good cover here and can fire around this stuff. And so there you go. There's like no way that you're going to be able to stop that. And that's a win there for Polt.
Yeah, a great map for Polt to do that strat on. A great map for Terran versus Zerg. So very well done. It's tied up 1-1, Tasteless.
And now we enter game number 3. In the bottom right, winning game number 2 and evening this out in the red. Give it up for Polt! And his opponent on the opposite side of the map in the blue. Now here at Dreamhack, so much on the line. Make some noise for True!
Both players showing the strengths of their strategies and executions on maps that are pretty good for that matchup in their favor. So I feel like we have 2 of the maps that are really sided one way or the other, gone out of the pool. It's tied up 1-1. And I mean, that's a perfect place to be at right now. It's like we're down to a best of 5 to decide who's the champion here in Montreal.
Well, I'm glad to see this is evenly matched. In the back of my head, I was a little bit terrified of the idea that maybe True is just some kind of unstoppable beast that would just completely obliterate everybody in his path. But Polt showed that he's got a good understanding. Now, what's cool about this is the map that we're on. This is like the classic StarCraft II map. We've had it before. We've taken it out. We've brought it back in Legacy of the Void. Both these guys have so much experience on this map specifically. We're going to see a really high-level game from these two. And I honestly honestly do not know who's going to win here.
No, it's really, really hard to say. We're going to have to see what Polt wants to do strategically here, and it's not going to be the same build he showed in the last 2 games. This is not a stim rush with 2 medevacs. Instead, he's going to tech up a little bit more.
Well, the cool thing about this map is there's a lot of ways to play it, but you can definitely do a very textbook style of play, a very orthodox TVZ or ZVT here. But as we begin to expand out further, it can also be kind of tricky. There's a lot of ways for Zergs to counterattack. There's also a lot of locations for Terran to hide drops and navigate through different areas.
I think we might be seeing reactored Hellions, even possibly into Banshees, or maybe just a 3rd command center coming up from Polt. Probably just a lot of harassment, though, early on, and that can be very good on this map. The 3rd base for Zerg, even though it's very far away from Terran, it's hard to connect that by creep, so something like Hellions can do very well against a lot of light units like the Zerglings trying to kill them.
We have the Reaper now just outside the base, a bunker coming down here. That's always an indicator that Terran really does want to tech up, so I think what you're saying, Artosis, is 100% correct. The Reaper obviously going to try to peek in, wait to regen and then peek in again here. But yeah, this should be a somewhat of a passive game here, I believe, at the start.
Yeah, there's maybe some harassment coming out from Polt, but nothing more than that. It's not like he's making an army that can just go up and attack anytime soon. And, it looks like...
Oh, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, he's making a bunker. So we're actually going to see a little bit of a siege tank push over there.
I stand corrected, guys, and this is not really normal. This is not like your everyday build here, but that's kind of funny. He's going to make this bunker here. This is actually, we've seen this in almost all iterations of StarCraft, and it's only good because it's used so rarely. If you know that they're doing this, you do not win. But the fact of the matter is, this is a sneaky build that Polt is pulling out here right now. Now, just because he sees that inside the main, that doesn't mean that he has any idea about the bunker. The bunker is the big tell.
The bunker is kind of the crazy part, where he can utilize the siege tank and harass with it, and anytime Zerglings follow him, he just goes back to the bunker and they have to run away.
Well, sometimes this is the way to take out like a Code S level Korean, is to do a weird build. It's almost a little bit anachronistic. It's a little bit sneaky, but it's definitely not what they're used to training for, since this is just not your standard style of play. Here comes the tank, and now we see the conundrum that the Zerg is in.
Yeah, very annoying right there. Hitting the drones, dealing a lot of damage. He doesn't want to lose his economy. 4 queens coming down and try to push it back, but they can't go too far or the bunker's there. But luckily, a lot of Zerglings coming out, able to surround it. It was a really cool idea from Polt, and if those rocks weren't down, I think it would have done a lot of damage.
Problem is that so many Zergs are going to try to take out those rocks regardless. As you know, Zergs generally want to have a more open map, and Terrans tend to prefer the map to be more congested. Had those rocks not been taken out so quickly, then most certainly the tank would have been able to deny, or at least slow down, the damage that was being dealt over there. But because he got that down, I mean, True completely shut down that strat that Polt was trying to do.
Yeah, there's really not been any damage done yet, and on top of that, he's got his 3rd hatchery up. He's got 1-1. It's going to be about halfway done by the time Polt can even start his, so that's a nice little advantage as well. Whereas Polt, he's just getting his macro going. That 3rd command center is about to finish. A lot of barracks on the way as well.
Okay, he's going to try to sneak in here. Widow Mine also in position. Drones immediately evacuated. Let's see how many lings it's going to take to try to clean this up here.
The Overlord pops out and eats that Widow Mine shot.
Oh, how funny. How fortunate there for True.
Really makes it very easy indeed to clean up. Does get the queen and picks up the lings.
Hardly lost anything back there. But here we have the queens now coming out.
A 4-queen drop coming out here from True, even transfusing, just trying to get some sort of harassment done. Not sure exactly how much damage he's going to find, though.
Don't try this at home, kids.
No.
No, this is pretty interesting, okay? I think he's only doing this because he saw that was such a weird strat early on, and he knew that other drops are going to come. There's actually not very much to try to slow this down here. And with these lings coming up, Artosis, is he going to be able to bust him?
I don't know. I don't think so, but these queens are still alive somehow. He's cleaning up that drop at home at the same time and breaks through the bunker with these Zerglings. The Zerglings coming in for a flank. The queen's still somehow alive.
He is doing so much damage here. Right now, Polt very good with the hold position micro. The Lings once again trying to come in here again. The tank gets lower. The tank is taken out. This is an insane strategy here. We're seeing from True. The SCVs are now being evacuated. Right now, the second base for Terran is unmineable.
So many SCVs going down. More and more Lings running in as well, forcing a double liftoff in the natural. What is this strategy that we're seeing from True? He's gotten so far ahead.
I don't even know what to say, man. Okay, we're going to have to talk a little bit more about this after the game, but that is like... I know that every StarCraft game is a special little snowflake, but that was like nothing I have ever casted in my entire career.
That
was like, what?
That was a snowflake with its own set of fingerprints on it, okay? Like, that was so weird to see the 4 queens just drop there and transfuse for days while the Lings come and break through the front.
I thought he was harassing. I was like, okay, I guess you could get SCVs. That's cool. I guess you can transfuse. And then I see the Lings coming. I'm like, oh my god, the bunker is empty.
Just a crazy, crazy play right there. Polt's in a lot of trouble. He's only got 29 SCVs at the moment. He does have the triple command center, so he can replace them a little bit faster, but I like everything about True's position here. He's just in great shape. He's already got 2-2 started up. His Spire's over halfway done. Plenty of units and map control, and his creep spread's pretty good as well.
True is so good, he doesn't even need gas units, man. He just makes Lings and Queens, and then the Overlords too. Those are cheap. You know, they just cost minerals, and then he can actually disarm you there. We see the Lings now coming back over here. Polt is trying to regain some kind of ground over here in this game. A good pickup, taking out a few Lings here and there, backing up close to the Widow Mine. Eventually, Polt is going to have to take a third base. And there it is.
Yeah, he's floating over to it right now. The harassment, I'm sure, will continue from True, though, so he's going to have to stay on top of blocking anything like Baneling run-ins or anything of that sort from True. He definitely likes that type of style. In the meantime, True does have his own fourth base, and now Mutalisks are on the way, and especially on King Sejong Station, Mutalisks are very strong.
Absolutely, and this is where the efficacy of the drops kind of goes away to some extent. Dropping truly does become a very dicey maneuver here for Polt, and that's going to bring us into a different phase where I think he's going to have to turtle a little bit more. Oh my god, that splitting was so good.
It really was.
Oh my god. Oh no! It's happening again!
Just a ridiculous play here. The Zergling going to end up getting a lot of kills there as well. True taking all of his attention down to that third base and then dropping the natural.
Oh my god.
True is the new master of the universe.
I don't even know, man. This is crazy. He is just hitting Polt from every possible angle. The air tech is now out here as we see the mutas are hatching. Terran is going to try to come up here with this push. Polt needs to do a decent amount of damage, but he doesn't want to overextend. If he overextends, this army is going to be swallowed up entirely.
You know, you're right about that, but if he doesn't get some damage done here, does he really have any chance? He's only at 30 SCVs. Everything about Polt's position is very tough indeed.
I gotta say, man, I have seen a lot of crazy games, but right now, True is just revolutionizing the way I'm seeing Zerg. I've never seen Lings controlled so well. It's just incredible. Terran beginning to push forward here. Banelings are about to hatch. More Lings do come down. The Medivacs are beginning to be targeted. The Mutas are out now. Medivacs on the run. The Lings may stay in pursuit. No, True. Oh, wow. Good connect there on those Mutas. True will try to wipe out anything else he can find down here if he can get a good engage.
Oh, he's coming in to try to clean this up, and Polt targeting down the mutas very, very quickly, killing quite a few of them off. Polt is being very cost efficient considering what a tough spot he's in this game, and he's actually dropping while bringing up more Marines to keep those Zerglings busy.
A drop over here, but too many Lings here from True. He'll be able to clean that up pretty easily. +2/+2 attack is about to finish, but it does not matter. GG.
True taking game number 3 and the lead in the series 2-1 right now. What a wild game from True. So well done.
I felt like we went to an alternate reality where StarCraft was a completely different game and Zergs were busting Terrans with Queens and Overlords and then sending Lings in.
Yeah.
But apparently this is the same StarCraft we have been playing all along. So let's take a step back here and talk about what happened. So True did this kind of cool strategy, and we've seen it all the way back into like the very first year of StarCraft 1. People did this kind of stuff. The bunker hidden somewhere, and then it's kind of like when you get cannon rushed on the ladder and they do it like by your nexus or something, and you're like, oh my god, okay, I didn't see that. Well, he was trying to make a bunker there, set up a tank, and then hit the drones from a distance and make it a little bit more complicated. What unfortunately occurred was, because it's true, he had a bunch of queens, he had a bunch of lings. And
he had broken down those rocks.
He already killed the rocks, so it was like, sorry.
He swarmed it. He zerged that bunker right out of there.
He zerged the bunker. So here's the response, right? And this is what's so important. Because the tanks and the other medevacs are on the map, he just drops here. There's not really a lot, right? So he has to unload those Marines to try to kill the queens. Then the Lings come in here, and this is like exactly why Terran had the bunker to begin with, was because if the Lings got in, it's too late. So this is like a super technical, it almost seems like True is just thinking on his feet here, saw the Matrix code and knew exactly how to take out Agent Polt here.
The 4 queen drop there was just, it was so crazy, but he rightly identified that a tank evac opening into a 3rd command center while Polt is harassing doesn't have a lot left at home.
Your base is a little bit naked, and True is going to take you out. We are now going into game number 4. In the bottom right, in the red, give it up for Polt! And his opponent here in the bottom left, revolutionizing Zerg in that last game. All the way from South Korea, now here in North America for Dreamhack. Give it up for True!
True up 2-1 as we enter into New Gettysburg. And on this map, above many other maps, it's very easy to get to the extreme late game. So who is actually going to triumph there if the game doesn't end before then? You know, True already showed us on the first map, Apotheosis, how strong he can be with a bunch of Infestors and Ravagers and Ultras. Whereas, you know, Polt kind of did fall apart in that game. Can he hold on such a big macro map like New Gettysburg?
Maybe. Let's see. You know, every time I talk about this map, I always want to highlight this because it's a little bit different from a lot of our other maps. So if we could take a look at this bridge down here at the bottom, because True's exploited this a lot on this map. You have this long-ass bridge that goes all the way across the map. Now, it's very narrow, so it's easy to, if you can control the opposite end of the bridge, you can lock your opponent out. But a lot of times, especially with True in this case, he just uses Lings and spills them through here and ends up hitting Terran forces from behind. There's also these islands on this map. I don't believe this will be a factor here, but it can be very important because there's these blockers on the edges of the islands, and what that essentially means is that mutas and medevacs can hide around those, so that can be tricky as well. But this, I believe, Artosis should be a longer game.
Yeah,
we're probably going to see more attention in the top center.
Like, I guess there's always the possibility that one of them can kind of rush and finish off his opponent pretty quickly. And if one player was to do that, I would think it would be Polt trying for it. It looks like he's going for the quick stim as well as double medevac rush that we've seen him do before. Now, will he follow it up with a 3rd command center like we saw in Apotheosis for more of a macro game? Or will he go for an all-in behind it like we saw in Dasan Station?
I don't know, man. This is a tricky game here, especially because we're in game 4 with True up 2-1. Let's say that True wins this. That's a 3-1 lead, Artosis. That would mean Polt would have to win 3-0 from there to take this. And I just don't know if that's possible.
Seems like a tall order.
It seems like a damn tall order, my friend. So what do you do exactly as Polt here? I think you've got to be basically perfect. You have to do every single attack right, but most of all, you cannot fall victim to these drops and harass from True. As good as True is on the map, engaging your army, he's even better at sneaking into your base. I don't understand. It's even hard for us to see exactly what he's doing, but he is showing blips on the mini-map all over the place before these drops are even coming in, and that's why Polt's eye is being caught on the wrong part of the map, so that when those Baneling drops come in, because when you look at it, it looks simple, right? You're like, well, why didn't he move his SCVs? Well, that's because True is doing so many things and revealing so much and faking out big attacks and then retreating to the point where Polt's attention is just in the wrong spot. And this is kind of a mini game in StarCraft we don't really talk about that much, but the fact that you can only have so much on your screen at the same time. The very highest level players will really just cause attention to be elsewhere. And even if you're a few seconds late to trying to stop what they already did, you've taken too much damage, you've lost too many workers.
Yeah, it is such a tough situation for Polt to try to deal with that. You know, with those air blockers, you're going to see slightly less drops into the main base, but definitely your base is kind of spread out as the game goes longer. So he will have to keep an eye on that. A lot of Zerglings being produced right now, a Baneling Nest as well. He's going for a counterattack.
Yeah, look at this.
Well, you move out with the 16 Marines immediately here, so he knows there's not going to be a lot of units at home.
Now, let's see where the medevacs go. A little bit of a gamble here. Okay, now
he's trying to dodge overlords.
Okay. Now, he's going to make sure those lings are not spotted by that. He's going to loop around here. Terran is quite a bit exposed here, and there are 17
Banelings. Oh my god! This is so many units being produced. Now, Polt drops out. He's getting ready to try to do some damage, pick off some overlords and whatnot, but you know, True has most of his units across the map.
All right, he's in position. He's going to move in. Here we go! And he doesn't even shut the entrance!
These Banelings going to be able to easily get up this ramp. They kill off those depots in a matter of seconds. Polt is microing for his life right now.
I don't know what to say. The Banelings are coming in here and destroying too many SCVs!
That is a ton of SCVs going down. 33 have already fallen. The supply depots going down. Polt does take out the third base of True, but I don't think he cares.
I don't think he needs that third base. The Lings are coming in. There's no medevacs right now to heal. The Zerglings are just doing too much damage. His Polt out of this game. It looks like True mustered the defense necessary to actually bounce those medevacs back out. And meanwhile, Artosis, there's only 4 SCVs in this game.
Oh, he's lost 40 SCVs. Almost nothing left over. I mean, what a great counterattack here from True. He did fantastically. He sacked his third base for a game victory, it looks like, at this point.
That was incredible. Polt's going to try to come in. It would take a miracle for this to do enough damage.
Yeah, like this has to basically kill the natural at least to bring this game back into something he can win. The Banelings actually get a decent connection. Another counterattack. Oh, Polt is not going to have anything left.
The killing blow is coming here now. There it is. GG.
GG indeed. True just crushing through the veteran Polt there. 3-1 right now. True is on match point. No. True is not on match point. True is on BlizzCon point right now. Okay, this guy wins one of the next 3 games, and he will be one of the guys playing at the championship, the World Championship at BlizzCon.
Okay, really briefly here, I want to discuss what we saw here. That attack is timed out so perfectly because this is kind of common in the meta, and especially from Polt. We've seen that the 2 medevacs come out. He hits exactly at the right moment. Now, he disguised that pretty well, and that's easier said than done. But also, Polt didn't raise the depot. Now, most of the Banelings are supposed to go to the depot, and then the Lings come in. If you actually, that's like... I don't even have a great metaphor.
That's like 5 extra Banelings that he has
now. Imagine some of those Banelings had detonated. Terran would still be in trouble, yes, of course. But the fact that already these SCVs can't even get out over here at the natural, and that means these Banelings, which can insta-kill the Marines or the SCVs, it's a choose-your-own adventure of win here. It's too much damage. And again, True, just showing so many different styles of play. This guy is like the almanac of Zerg builds or something. I mean, he's got his response to everything. And also, very smartly, True sacked his third base, saying, I only need 2 bases. If you don't have any workers, I'll give up a base.
And there was no way he was ever going to hold on to that base. So it was a very well-calculated counter by True. And now Polt has to be extra careful with that build in the future.
We are now entering what's hopefully not our last game. It is going to be game number 5. In the upper right, in the red, he has to come back. Give your love to Polt! And his opponent down here in the bottom left, in the blue, he looks unstoppable. He's 1 win away from being our champion. Give it up for True!
And just in case True crushes this game and ends this tournament abruptly. Big shout out to our observer Flo. She's been fantastic all weekend long.
Yeah, guys, give Flo a cheer here. She's been observing every game. She's the best in the business. Props to her. She does an absolutely fantastic job.
Okay, Tasteless, it's time for Polt to pull out some cheese, it looks like. Maybe a 3-Rax Reaper?
Yeah, well, you got to try every tool in the kit if you're going to become a champion of a tournament like this. And I say, why not? Now, will True be able to hold this? I guess we're going to have to find out. A lot of this is not simply the strategy of the build. It's the mechanical ability of the player versus the other player.
Yeah, some players are better with this type of build than others. And Polt definitely is very strong at micro. He knows how to micro the Reaper. He was around since the beginning of StarCraft II.
Look, and Polt's an old school player, man.
Yeah, and at the very beginning of StarCraft II, you only made Reapers against Zerg, okay? Like talking beta, he knows how to micro these things.
The era of Maka Prime and his Reapers. But yeah, I mean, 3-Rax Reaper is viable. Now, one thing to note about this is that if Zerg holds this, Terran has less Marines later, so there are some opportunities for exploits coming from True. But of course, if Terran does too much damage with the Reapers, who cares about the mid-game as far as Zerg opportunity goes? Terran is probably going to crush you later on.
Yeah, if you make a misstep against this, the Reapers themselves can kill you. But oftentimes, what we see is that one player is slightly ahead of the other if they both have fantastic micros. So let's take a look and see what he can do to hold on against these Reapers.
Okay, so the Reapers are going to stack up. Obviously, they can regen here, which puts, and Zerg can regenerate health, but obviously not at the same rate as the Reaper can. So occasionally this can snowball. Right now, Polt putting his tournament life on his ability to control and outmaneuver his opponent in a dogfight here on the ground.
A lot of Reapers coming in right now. Command center at home, so this isn't really all in or anything. It's a lot of pressure, it's a lot of aggression, but he's getting an economy behind.
Okay, he's beginning to push in. Now notice the Lings on the high ground. They're hoping to trap the Reapers if they do jump up, but I think Polt's too smart for that. He sees there's no Lings down here. That means they have to be hiding somewhere else. And oh, one Queen goes down. Second Queen. Now the Lings may try to come in here and trap, but good lane of the mines. He just perfectly zones out the Lings. 16 more Lings on the way, and Ling speed is almost done. That's the moment when this game turns on its head, because Lings with speed can actually surround those Reapers and to kill them off.
If you surround all those, then Polt's probably going to lose the game. Okay, he gets out of there, throws down some escape mines so that the Zerglings can't follow all the way, and he's still trying to surround right now. Some great mines go off, though, and bounce those Zerglings away.
Good mine placement over here. Zerglings headed over here to the east side of the map. And it looks like they're going to try... Nope, they're going to try to go to the south. And I think that's a smart move there, because Polt would be able to block that off and then bleed off more Lings here. Now, from here, the Terran makes a few more Reapers and then continues to make 2 expansions while the Zerg tries to get back on his feet. The Terran tries to get back into the tech tree and economy tree. Yeah, all those trees, you know.
Where does True actually want to go from here? Oh my god, he's making 12 more Zerglings. These Zerglings are not needed for defense, so they are for an attack. He's starting to work on the rocks up there at the top. I think that True's just going to all in against Polt.
Well, here's the thing, right? True can take some risks in this series. He's ahead enough. And all he needs to do is get a surround on these Reapers. Now, this is not the normal way to play, guys. If you're here to learn, this is how a champion beats another champion in a high-level series. This is not necessarily the best way to approach this, but because it's unpredictable, because it's not necessarily the orthodox way to play the game, he could absolutely blindside Polt here and end this.
And he is going to have a gigantic flank. He has a big group of Zerglings to the south of Polt's natural and a big group breaking through the rocks. So look at that. Like, this is just some... And here's like, he'll attack probably from 3 sides, if I had to guess.
That one Reaper that hit, he probably thinks those are those Lings that were there all along. He doesn't know there's actually 3 more groups of Lings over here right now. So we have Lings here over right now doing some damage. SCVs are being pulled. The Reapers are coming up, but there are still more Lings hidden around the map for possible ambushes.
Okay, the Reaper's coming up to try to help to deal with all of this. A lot of Zerglings hidden all around. Polt has no idea, as you said, Tasis, about the total number of Zerglings
he thinks those are the same original Zerglings that came out and stopped the Reaper attack before.
Oh, he actually finds these ones to the north and gets quite a few free kills there, but he is drawing those Reapers away.
Yeah, and it's a decoy. Here comes the other attack!
beautiful move by True right into that natural once again. Polt starting to take quite a bit of damage. Some Marines do come down the ramp to try to hold this off, but a great surround goes off by True.
But already 9 SCVs, now 11, 12 have been killed off. A huge play there as Terran wanted to get back into this game. The Reaper's still moving out. Zerg now going for +1 melee, +1 armor, and probably going to begin to switch into, I assume, more of a more standard play. But True has been pretty crazy this whole series. I'm having a hard time predicting whatever he's doing.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So is Polt, though, right?
That's true.
Polt's trying to predict what's going on, but True is thrown for a loop at every turn. The Reaper's coming up, harassing at this third base, picking off a Queen very quickly. True trying to do harassment, but Polt is trying to seal up, you know, all of his little holes at this point. He doesn't want to take any more economical damage.
Baneling's Nest now, more Zerglings on the way. Terran is beginning to, for instance, get combat shields, get, I believe, 2 E-bays coming up over here. And, of course, the medevacs are now starting. Now, remember, when you go for Reapers early, you don't have a lot otherwise. The Reapers, of course, can harass like we're seeing here. Actually, nicely done. Can he get a Queen kill over here? Another transfuse so far. No casualties yet. For Polt. Now we have another Ling counterattack. Ling's actually denying that expansion over there for Polt. He has forced to lift that off.
Ling's just harassing absolutely everywhere. Trying to seal up this hole now, but you know, that's just, they aren't doing like a lot of damage, but they're slowing Polt down quite a bit.
So 34 more Lings on the way here. I gotta say, True is really showing that just with a tier 1 unit, a very basic unit, you can stick with that all the way into mid game.
Yeah,
you're like completely fine with these things.
He's outmaneuvering, he's out-positioning, out-strategizing, out-tricking Polt so far this game.
And you know, it's a style of play I just don't think Polt is ever used to experiencing. And that's why I think it's so hard for him. He's attempting to make the proper adjustments, but every game, it's like True has so many more tricks up his sleeve.
There's very few Zergs that play like this. This is something we always talk about with True anytime we cast him anywhere Tasteless, is that he marches to the beat of a different drum. He loves those Zerglings. He loves running around with them, using them in strategic harassment-based ways.
It's kind of crazy. He like uses all these guerrilla tactics coming in there.
It's a fantastic style, and this guy has so much potential with it right now. Now, Polt is moving out 4 medevacs, almost all of them full right now. This is going to be a really powerful attack.
Okay, medevacs headed southbound now. Let's see if he can get a good drop over here. It does seem like there are already so many Lings. I feel like he's going to spend a lot of time loading and unloading. Oh, he may combo it. He may actually hit 2 locations at once.
I like that move a lot. If he can draw, like he's using True's tactics against him. Oh my God!
There's no escape!
Catches every single Reaper, but these Marines have been unloaded, and that third base is in a lot of trouble.
The Banelings are coming down. He needs to target each one down properly, and he does manage to do that. It looks like no, am I wrong? Actually, I think he just barely has enough to hold this. Excuse me, never mind. There are too many more Lings coming down now, and he does wipe that out. But losing those Reapers, huge play there. Almost no Lings lost in that process.
Yeah, that is not how Polt saw that one going, and now True has held on to absolutely everything, making more and more Zerglings right now. A lot of Banelings out as well. True is truly amazing. Look at the creep spread on the map. His economy's doing well. His upgrades are doing well. Just everything about his play is awesome in this series.
Actually pretty big here. He's going for the gold base there in the upper left. So for all the different harass that we see here, if he actually gets that and Polt can't do any damage on the map, I think Polt is going to drown in Zerglings in this game. I don't think there's much else he can do.
Very tough stuff. A lot of Banelings being morphed. He, of course, can bust through that wall. A little bit of a harassment here in the middle, trying to hold that creep back and hit that gold base. Looks like he should be able to cancel it, so a nice move by Polt.
Okay, good denial. That's definitely a small victory there for Polt, but had that not been handled, that could have really piled up later on. Meanwhile, another attack over here. Once again, the Banelings in here to ambush. The SCVs are being evacuated. The Marines coming down, and he manages to save every single SCV. Brilliant play by Polt. But another attack over here at the right.
And we have Zerglings going up through the center of the map as well. The Banelings trying to catch these SCVs. SCVs being spread out as more Marines come back to try to hold on here. But the SCVs being slaughtered. 13 going down.
You know, True just looks like, you know, almost like the Zerg in the StarCraft single player, right? Where there's just too much coming from every angle. And they're like, we gotta get off this planet. Polt definitely in a tough spot here, but Polt is going to try anyways to push southbound over here. Another drop denied there by True.
True is absolutely everywhere at once. True is the overmind right now. This is really tough stuff for Polt. Oh, doesn't even see those banelings roll in and kill off most of his Marines.
Okay, some Lings gathering over here at the right. It looks like he just wants to keep pressure. He wants to try to draw the army back, and he closes it in time. No! He comes in! Marines are rallying out! He's going to try to possibly even breach into the main here.
That is so many Zerglings. Only Zerglings in the production fab for True, as well as he surrounds all of these Marines and wipes them out. The economy of Polt taking another big hit.
GG! True has done it! He is your champion!
True in a truly convincing fashion, taking down Dreamhack Montreal, the summer championships of WCS, and winning a spot at BlizzCon on his first try.
Congratulations. You said that you wanted to play the legendary player Polt. You faced him, you took him down in a very convincing fashion, but most of all, you are now a StarCraft II champion for the very first time. Tell us, what is that like?
Yeah, it's my I played StarCraft Pro Gamer 7 years. But it's my first win, big tournament, so I am so happy.
And what is it like, because you were gone from the foreign scene for quite a while, and this is your second tournament after Home Story Cup. When you finally got that visa, you're finally able to participate again. With this, you are not only a champion, you will be in the WCS Global Playoffs as well. So what is going through your head right now?
I just qualified BlizzCon, so I will try to win BlizzCon.
Okay, True. Last but not least, all these fans in Montreal showed up to watch StarCraft II. They watched you become a champion today. You have fans not only here, but fans online that are watching your games. Please say something for all of your fans.
Thanks for cheer. Thanks, guys. I'm. 제가 뭐지 아무것도 아닌데 이렇게 저를 이렇게 응원해 주시는 제가 그동안 많이 집에서 쉬고 있을 때는 이제 아무것도 아닌 존재였는데 그냥 이렇게 많은 분들이 응원해 주시니까 뭔가 살아있음을 느끼는 것 같아요.
He says, for a while I was resting at home when I wasn't able to participate in these tournaments, and honestly I was a nobody, guys, but to come here and have you guys cheer so hard for me, I feel like I'm a somebody. You guys make me feel alive, so thank you so much for that. Now, last but not least, True, as a Dreamhack champion, we have a tradition where you must open a bottle of champagne. So, if we can just bring that on stage for him. This is the final boss, True. Best of luck.
I'm still thirsty to win. Keep cheer for me, guys. Thank you.
And there you have it. Your WCS Summer Champion is True.
What a fantastic performance by True. He is the WCS Circuit Summer Champion here at the Dreamhack Zawi Open in Montreal. He entered this tournament with one goal, and that goal was achieved. It was to win the tournament, to qualify himself for the global playoffs at the end of the year. $35,000 has been collected, and of course the $10,000 just to compete at the global playoffs. And there he is on stage. A remarkable performance this weekend, Roddy.
Absolutely. I mean, cliche, but one shot, one opportunity, and he did grab it with both hands. Played awesome, man. I mean, I was reading the Team Liquid power ranking before this tournament when I couldn't fall asleep, and he was seeded as 12th player going into this tournament. I mean, obviously a lot of us disagree with that, but still, I mean, that says something. Like, the expectations weren't that high. I think it's awesome.
The real question is, did that power rank help you to fall asleep?
No, not at all. Okay. I was laying in bed. Why is this guy seated as 12th player? Just a great run by Truman. I mean, he dropped like 3 games throughout the entire tournament. 2, actually.
It was so crazy, man. I mean, True did so well. You know what? He did it with his own style. A lot of times we think that we needed somebody to play in the current meta, or stick to the fundamentals of what we know about StarCraft II. True is somebody who bends the rules. He bends the universe into a pretzel for his will. He gets so many lings out there. He just sticks with these lings and banelings. He just keeps overwhelming his opponent. He's hitting from so many different angles. He's using those guerrilla tactics, and that's the way he won this Dreamhack. It's pretty insane.
He's awesome. What an aggressive Zerg. He made this tournament look easy.
He really did.
You have to look at him and say, I guess this guy has a shot to win BlizzCon, because he really made all of these top-tier pro gamers just... I mean, it wasn't even close. Not even against Polt. Polt. It didn't look close.
Yeah, it was a fantastic performance. We can check in with the bracket, and you can see the road that he took throughout this tournament, starting very early on in the round of 32. If you just look to the left-hand side, he started against Snoot. He took him out 3-0, took out Harstem 3-0, took out Welmo, Hero Marine, and Polt.
Yeah, it's a lovely run, especially the round of 32 victory over Snoot. That convincing. There are very few people out there that can 3-0 Snoot in his EVZ. He did it, and then Harstem, who's had a phenomenal record in PvZ over the last few months. True definitely made that one look easy. And then taking care of Belmo as well. I mean, he deserved it. He played great. Polt had a pretty good read on his style before the series. He said, you know, he watched the game against Hero Marine, said there's no need to be all that aggressive. So obviously he was worried about the things that True could have done, and he was thinking about it. Yeah, True found openings over and over again. Loved the non-stop, at least he tried non-stop drop plays. Sometimes he got shot down, but if he got shot down once or twice, eventually he found an opening, dropped a couple banelings, and every time you looked at Polt's work account, it's like, well, 13 SCVs left. This is gonna be pretty hard. I mean, yeah, awesome play. I couldn't agree more with the guys.
And he joins now, funny enough, Polt and Showtime as the 3 leaders of the WCS, the 3 champions of 2016, who will head into the global playoffs, of course, with 5 others who qualify from the WCS point system. But he is a winner, he's a champion. He's going into the global playoffs to take on the Koreans, well, the other Koreans, I suppose I should say, from the other region. It's going to be a fantastic tournament, which isn't that far away.
No, this is really kind of building all the suspense, all the hype around BlizzCon as we see the players that get truly locked in. Definitely we have some great Europeans, and even Neeb, the North American, going to be going to BlizzCon by the amount of points that they have. But these 3 champions this year, very well deserving.
And it's not over yet, though. There's still another WCS event to come, Kevin, which you're going to be attending, hopefully, with fingers crossed. But the Copa America is not too far around the corner. We're going to be having more points on the line, hopefully more players trying to squeeze in last minute. Not too many spots available, but there is still some.
Yeah, and with True winning here, it actually complicates the rankings a little bit because the 8th spot was tied, right, between Violet and Elaser, if I recall correctly.
Yep.
Well, suddenly that is 8 and 9, so one of those two. I mean, we could potentially have another global playoff match like we had back then with Revival, I believe it was, against Naniwa all the way back in like 2013 or something. If nothing changes, but I can only assume that a lot of the guys will try to score some points in Mexico. So yeah, all eyes on the Copa.
Absolutely. Any final thoughts here, Tastos, before we close it up?
Just a fantastic tournament, an awesome audience here in Montreal. I just could not believe the energy and enthusiasm they showed, not just for the hometown hero Scarlet, but everyone involved. Have loved this event and couldn't be happier with how it turned out.
Tasteless, you've enjoyed your time in Canada and enjoyed this tournament.
Yeah, my first time here in Montreal, amazing city, absolutely great game, such a fun tournament to cast, and of course good to be here with you guys, delivering all this fun here and being at the very best StarCraft that we can be at.
Kev, final thoughts here in this tournament. It's been a special weekend, it's been a fun weekend.
Just another great weekend of StarCraft II. It feels like we've had so many tournaments lately, but they're still all memorable for their own reasons. Had a great time here. I mean, these two guys.
I mean,
what else is there to say?
Here.
Love you guys.
Half the fun is on camera, half the fun is off camera. You know? So it was great. Obviously, all the other guys as well in the audience. I mean, I couldn't agree more. Time for some poutine, I'd say. Let's go. I want my fries.
Poutine time, boys. Let's do it.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you, of course, to the other commentary team, the other casters in this, and of course, Smix, and of course, Blizzard, and importantly, the sponsors of this tournament, Zowie Razor, G2A, Monster Energy, and of course, Alienware. One last thing before we go, do remember to check out the G2A contest for up to 2,000 euros worth of prizes available. Do go to g2a.com/DHOpen to give it a shot to see if you can also be a winner. Thank you very much for watching this tournament. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves this weekend. That's it from us. See you next time.